Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I think it was last week that Samantha Jane and I were talking about old videos that she had posted. So because I'm relatively new to YouTube, I don't have any super old videos to go back and look at, but she kind of was saying go back and look at some of my old ones just to like compare to how she posts today versus how she used to. And I did that, but I came across a tag that I thought was really interesting, and I'm not sure how many years ago it was on her channel, but I'll link that down below. And it was a behind the scenes tag on stuff that's more geared towards how you put yourself on YouTube, like camera and lighting and stuff like that. And I thought the questions were really interesting, so I thought I'd go ahead and answer them for you. Now, unfortunately, looking at these questions, which I have on my phone, there's not a whole lot of props for this, so mostly it's going to be me just talking to the camera. So the first question is, what camera do you use? And I have the Canon Rebel T5i, which I bought about a year and a half ago for my blog, and I didn't really know anything about cameras. I just knew that this was one that a lot of YouTubers used and could therefore take decent pictures. So I bought it, and thankfully I can shoot video with it. Although I really did have to get a bigger memory card to actually film on, because it just couldn't hold enough based on what I had before. The next question is, what editing system do you use? And I've actually, even though I've only been on YouTube for like 5 months now, I've gone through a lot. I first started on iMovie because I had that for free on my MacBook Pro, but I knew I didn't really want to be editing videos on my laptop because we have desktops at home. It was just the only thing that I had software on at the time. I then moved to Windows Movie Maker, which must be incompatible with Windows 10 because that sucker crashed I want to say at least every 5 minutes, but it felt more like it was every minute. I put up one video with that and then I went, no, absolutely not. So now I use Adobe Premiere Pro. The third question is, do you use natural or artificial lighting? And absolutely, I use artificial lighting. I have a ring light which my camera sits in the middle, and then the ring light goes all around it, and it's an 18-inch, I think they're called Diva ring lights by Stellar Lighting. It was expensive. It came to roughly $400 Canadian, but I knew that if I was going to YouTube, I had to get some sort of lighting system because I absolutely hate when your lighting changes. And I can watch people that have lighting changes in their videos, but for me, I knew I wanted a consistent light, and this was the only way to do it. So that's what I use. I use artificial lighting. The next question is, what is the top item on your filming wish list? And based on what I've been looking at this weekend, it's either a new battery pack for my camera, I was gonna say, or another larger memory card. But no, at this point, it definitely has to be a new battery pack because this one can shoot for, I'm gonna say roughly 90 minutes because a makeup tutorial takes me about an hour and 10 minutes, and it can shoot a little bit longer. But if I want to shoot another video afterwards, I have to wait for the battery to recharge, and that drives me crazy. So yeah, definitely a new battery for my camera. The next question is, what is your favorite day in the week to film? And I don't really have a preference. It's more based on what time allows. So as it is right now, I shoot all of my videos on the weekend, just because that's when I have time. Because during the week, I'm either trying to get blog posts done, trying to edit videos, or like go running or go to the gym and stuff like that. So weekends are when I have more time, and then that's when I can shoot most of my videos. Question number 6 is, do you plan your videos, and if so, how? And I definitely plan them based on the products that I've amassed in the last weeks or months. Or if I'm working on a collaboration with somebody, we'll kind of like sync that up and stuff like that. For tutorials, it's kind of more based on what interests me at the moment or what people have asked to see. There's no real rhyme or reason other than, oh, I think that's fun, so I'm gonna do it. And if you're talking about like long-term planning, yeah, I pretty much schedule everything out on a Google Calendar sheet online, and I post every Tuesday and Thursday, so I really slot it out based on what's coming up. Usually favorites are scheduled in advance, and then actually that may be the only thing, but I do work through the month in advance so I know what I'm going to be posting, or a rough estimate thereof. Question number 7 is, how long does it take you to film a video? And it totally depends on what I'm doing. A makeup tutorial takes anywhere from 70 minutes to 80, And that doesn't matter if I'm talking to the camera or I'm going to be doing a voiceover later. There's something about tutorials that just takes me forever. If it's more like a chatty video like this or favorites, you're probably looking at 30 minutes. And the tutorials I can actually cut down to about 5 or 6 minutes, which kind of blows my mind because it does take me 60 freaking minutes to put it on my face, and yet all I'm showing you is like a 6-minute clip. But I know people prefer a shorter tutorial, so I guess that works. So yeah, filming takes an unbelievable amount of time compared to what you guys see on screen. And the follow-up question to that is how many hours you spend editing a video. And I don't know, I feel like I'm really slow at this or something, because everybody else seems to say that editing takes them almost no amount of time. And that does really depend on what I'm doing. If it's a voiceover tutorial, I have to cut the clips down in order to make a full sequence, and then I have to record the voiceover. So the voiceover, between writing the script for it and saying it, probably takes me an hour. The editing itself, God, I hope I can say I'm down to about 2 hours, but it might be 3. When I first started, it was like 5 hours and it took forever. And I was like, I can't keep this up. I can't shoot a video for 1 hour, then edit for 5 hours. Like, that is so much time. But I mean, as you learn, you get faster and faster. If it's a talking video, thankfully, I don't have to add anything in after the fact. So I can just, other than fixing like the EQ of my voice because I don't have a microphone, it's pretty straightforward. So you cut, clip, cut, and then smush it all together. And I'm gonna say maybe an hour, roughly. The next question is, what are your favorite types of videos to film? I think the ones that involve like the sparkly backgrounds are the ones that I feel the most comfortable doing. So I guess that would be more tutorials. One of the reasons I sat down in front of the background today instead of on the sofa is because it feels a bit more official. And also with tutorials, it gives me a purpose. Sometimes I can get really tangled up in my words when I'm just talking to the camera, particularly if it's like a favorites or something like that. I feel like I get tongue-tied a lot. So if I'm just doing a straight tutorial, it's instructional and I can get to the point and tell you what I'm doing. So yeah, I prefer doing tutorials. The 10th question is, do people at your school or work know about your channel? And yep, I'm pretty open about stuff like that. I think it's the best way to get like viewers is telling people that you know. So the same thing with my blog. I didn't really keep it a secret. I just kind of told people in the hopes that they would either read it or share it or something like that. And I do the same with YouTube. I don't have a whole lot of reservations with stuff like that. I'm pretty comfortable about just telling people pretty much everything. So it's not really an uncomfortable thing for me. I think I already covered the next question, but it's, what is your process of thinking of a video idea? And like I said, it seems to be really based on whatever happens to catch my fancy at the moment. So makeup tutorials will be based on whatever palette I happen to be interested in recently. I know I'll be doing one for Pride because that's coming up at the end of June. And favorites are pretty, like they're monthly, so that's pretty easy. And like tags too, like I seem to kind of, I think women like answering questions in general, so tags are pretty, I mean, if you can find a good one, why not answer it, right? So that's kind of what this one is. And just going through other people's channels and figuring out what I like to watch is hopefully what other people will enjoy watching. So if I see something that I like somebody else doing, I'll just go ahead and film it myself. The 12th question asks if you feel uncomfortable filming in front of people or in public. I used to feel pretty uncomfortable with my husband in the room. At this moment, like I didn't want him to be able to hear me talking at all. Now he goes off to the bedroom and he can hear me speaking. So that I've gotten more used to that. In terms of public, like vlogging and stuff like that, I'm still not there. It's still a really weird sensation to be holding out your camera, like shooting your face, and everyone else seems to think that it's either weird or funny, so they try to get in your video. And I'm really like, please just ignore me. Shooting at Gen Beauty though was easy and fun because that's the world, right? It's all YouTube, so everyone's used to seeing that. I'm still very much getting used to just doing it on the street. I've tried to use Snapchat for that method, like just to try to get used to holding out something in front of me while I'm talking to it. And even then I'll kind of like wait for the moment where there's less people around. So yeah, not overly comfortable yet, but trying to get there. The 13th question is, do you and your YouTube friends plan out videos together? And I think that was kind of funny that they called it YouTube friends, because I tend to consider these people my actual friends. So far I've done videos with Samantha Jane, who I stole this idea from, and Natalie of Ivory Avenue. And we tend to, if we're gonna plan it out, usually somebody has one idea and then they'll mention it to the other person. And if we're gonna plan it together, we'll do it about a month in advance, which is really helpful to me because I like to plan things. The 14th question is, what is your subscriber goal for the end of the year? And being a new YouTuber, I don't really know how this snowballs. So I've been on here for coming on 6 months now, and I'm almost at 700 subscribers. And it seems to really, like, it builds and builds and builds every time, but I don't know what's realistic for the end of the year. I want to say 2,500, but I don't, like, at the current rate of progress, that won't happen. So at some point it has to snowball even bigger and just kind of like expand. So I really don't know what's reasonable. I think I can do 1,000 by the end of the summer, but I don't know if 2,500 is possible by December 31st. And the very last question asks who I'm going to tag back. And I wrote it down so I could get the names right, because usually I just say, hey, check the description box. I would like to tag Melissa of I Love Faces 1042, because I've been watching her for a long time and I'd like to hear more about her setup. Caitlin of Caitlin Elizabeth Beauty, whom I know IRL. Natalie of Ivory Avenue, because I feel like I tag you in everything. And then Haley of Haley Wright, which I assume is her name because I've just started watching her recently and I'm enjoying her face. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing about what I film with and how I put the process together. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.